Hello everyone and welcome to 30 Days of Java. It's day 28 now and today we'll discuss about JDBC. In this video we'll understand what is JDBC and why do we need it. Then we'll see how to set up our database and how to perform CRUD operations on it. So let's begin. In a real-world application, storing user data is essential, whether it's contact information, shopping cart contents, or other critical data. To manage and store this information effectively, a database is required. This is where JDBC or Java Database Connectivity comes into play. JDBC is a Java-based API that enables Java application to interact with databases. It provides a standardized method for connecting to and working with different database management systems. By using JDBC, developers can execute SQL queries, update records, and retrieve data seamlessly, ensuring that their application can store and manage user data efficiently. Now let's quickly jump onto IntelliJ to better understand it. So before we can start playing with JDBC, we'll need to get some things installed and set up in our local environment like MySQL Server and Workbench. So for that, we can simply go to this MySQL installer link and download the first option here. Now here we can ignore this sign up and simply click on no thanks, just start my download and click on save. Here I can select custom, then click on next. Now I can select some options that I want to install, like the latest version of MySQL Server. Then inside applications, I would select MySQL Workbench. And then I'll also install some sample examples. Now click on next and then click on execute. Now we'll need to wait for it to get downloaded and installed. Once the installation is complete, we can click on next and then start with the configuration. So here we can leave it as it is. We don't need to change anything here. Just remember the port number here, 3306. Now click on next. We can also leave this as it is. Now here I need to give it a password for my root user. So I can simply type in test@123 and you can give it any password that you like. Then click on next and then you can leave it as it is and then click on next again and next. Then click on execute. Now to use it, we'll click on finish, next. Then type in my password here, test@123. Click on check and then execute again. Now we'll again click on finish and finish. Now to test if everything is working as expected, we can open MySQL Workbench here. So I already have two instances here. If you don't see any instance, you can simply go to this plus option and create a new instance like local instance 3 and then click on OK. Now I'm ready to use my database here. So I can simply type in select asterisk from Aquila.actor and then execute this query. And I get all of these results back from the database. This database was created as the sample example and we'll use this database in our JDBC examples. Now that we are done with the local database setup, we can move on to IntelliJ to see it in action. Now inside our Maven project in IntelliJ, we'll first need to add its dependency for JDBC. So for that, we'll go to pom.xml and then add here dependencies, and then add a dependency here where the group ID is MySQL. The artifact ID would be MySQL connector-java, and the version, I would use the latest one, 8.0.33. Now if you're seeing the version number in red color, then you can simply go to this Maven here and then click on reload. This would reload the dependencies and resolve the issue. Now that we have the dependencies installed, we can go to my main program and then start writing the code. Now the first thing that we need to define here for connecting to our database is the connection string. For that, I can create a variable of string type named URL and then give it the value of JDBC, MySQL, and then localhost, because it's running on my local machine, then 3306, that is the port number that I mentioned earlier, and then the database on which we'll be working on, that is Sakila. Now that we have the URL set up, we'll also need to provide the user and password for this database. For that, I can type in string user equal to root, then string password equal to test@123. Now I can use these values to define a connection here. Connection equal to driver manager dot get connection, and then pass in the URL, user, and password. Now to resolve this issue with get connection, we'll hover over it and then add exception to method signature. Now that we have the connection in place, we can start by defining the first CRUD operation here, that is read operation. So CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. Out of all of these operations, read is the simplest one, so we'll start with that. So first, we need to write a SQL query here. We'll write SQL read equal to, then write select asterisk from actor. Now to execute this query, I'll write a try block here, and here I'll pass in repair statement equal to connection dot repair statement, and then the SQL query. Now we can access the result of this SQL query by simply typing in result set result equal to statement dot execute query. Let's resolve this first. And then to display all the results, we can simply type a while loop here and write it result dot next. Now this loop would keep running until the result set has some values. So we'll type in string name equal to result dot get string, and then we'll only fetch the first name of those actors, and we'll simply console out them. Now if I run this program, you can see that I'm getting back all the actors' first name here, and you can also match them with the workbench result here. Now let's see how to use the update statement in our JDBC program. For that, we'll go back to IntelliJ and then we'll create another query here, SQL update, and we'll type in update actor set first name equal to GoldenCat, where actor underscore ID equal to 1. So this query would update the actor's first name to GoldenCat, whose actor ID is equal to 1. So if I go back to my workbench, you can see the actor ID 1 is assigned to Penelope right now. If I go back, now here we'll type in try repeat statement equal to on.prepare statement, and then we'll use SQL update, and here I can type in int rows updated equal to statement.execute update, and we can output this. Now let's comment this out for now and run this program now. As you can see, it outputted 1 here, that is only one row was updated. Now if I go back to my workbench, and for now this actor ID 1 is assigned to first name Penelope. If I run this again, you can see this has been changed to GoldenCat. So this is how the update query works in JDBC. Now I can also write the create and delete query in a similar fashion for JDBC. So if I hop back into IntelliJ, and let's remove this part, and I'll change this query to create a new table here. So I'll type in create table test table, and this table would have 2 columns, name, ID, that would be of integer type, auto increment, and this would be the primary key, and then another column, user type varchar, and this should be not null. Now if I run this program now, and go back to my workbench, now let's refresh this first, and inside tables you can see that this is the table that we just created. If I click on select 1000 rows, you can see it has column ID and user. Now I can simply drop this table by typing in drop table and then as table. Now if I run this program and then go back to my workbench, now let's refresh this, and you can see the test table is now gone. So this is how the CRUD operations are implemented at JDBC. Now in a real-world application, we generally use third-party frameworks to perform these CRUD operations on a database. But at a fundamental level, you can implement these CRUD operations simply using the JDBC API. As always, we'll end this video with a quote that says, "The starting point of all achievement is desire." Thank you for watching and have a great day.